Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and our viewers. Welcome to the program and broadcast, Global Perspective. On today's program or show, we're looking at the Perennial ASUU Strike, the impact on the education sector, and the way forward. And I'm your anchor on today's program, and my name is Dennis Akoroge. I will introduce our guests who are here in the studio. I have Dr. Wokucha Kelechi. Dr. Wokucha Kelechi is a lecturer at the University of Port Harcourt. He's a managing partner Chiga Nigeria Limited. I have Dr. Ben George. Dr. Ben George is an assistant registrar at Rivers State University of Science and Technology. I have Dr. Babalola on the show. Babalola show is a consultant with a shipping company, and is also transitioning to becoming a lecturer. I welcome you guests to the program, and thank you for joining us. And let me bring up my other guests. I have Mr. Alex Erawan on the broadcast. Mr. Alex Erawan is the president of University of Benin Alumni Association, North American branch of North America. He's also a part of management of a New York City Mayoral agency. He's also a board member of the Dennis Akoroge Foundation. It's an honor to have you here, sir. We thank you for joining us despite your busy schedule.
Thank you very much. And hello, everyone.
Yes.
Hello,
Pleasure.
Mr. Alex.
So,
Yes.
yes, so we'll begin the discussion now on ASUU. My first question goes to Dr. Balala. So ASUU has been a recurring decimal now for quite some time, even before we as individuals, as students, before we entered university or college. We've been hearing ASUU strike. Even during our days in university, it continues as a recurring decimal. And even after we've left the university, it has continued to persist. So, is it an ending? Is it something that's going to end? Do you see any end in sight to this persistent, recurring, and perennial ASUU strike? Dr. Babola, do we see any end in sight to this perennial ASUU strike? You are muted, Doctor.
Okay.
Are you having any issue with your mic? Okay. If you're having challenge, maybe I call on Dr. Wokucha Kelechi take up that question.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can we all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
You can hear me clearly. When you
Yes.
talk about if there's any end to ASUU strike, I'll tell you yes.
Okay.
The issues of ASUU is because our leaders do not have the political will to end the strike. It is because our leaders have not taken the issues of our higher institution or the issues of education in all as a problem that needs immediate solution. Why is my answer yes? I'm going to cite the River State University or all tertiary institutions owned by River State government. I can't remember when last River State University or Ignatius Aju University of Education went on strike. That is because their demands are being met. Is there no ASUU in River State University? If you may ask me, there's ASUU in River State University. There's ASUU in Ignatius University of Education, but they don't join the strike. Why will you join the strike when your demands are being met? And what are those demands? Funding of our high institutions, provision of infrastructures, employment of lecturers. Those are the mere demands that are coming from ASUU. And any government that has interest in education should meet those demands. You find out the situation where there is a recommendation by UNESCO for 20% allocation of budget. 20% allocation for education budget. And you find out the situation where we are battling between 4 and 10%. You understand?
Yes.
Where we are battling between 4 and 10%. So that means the will is not there to even tackle these issues. Do you understand? So there's an end to ASUU strike if only government will take responsibilities of our institutions. Certainly there's an end to this.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Kelechi Wokocha. And my next question goes to President Alex Peron. There's been this constant talk about transfer of program, whereby students can transfer from Nigerian Public Universities across to the Western world. Mr. Alex, do you see the possibility of that program? Do you see any credibility or viability of this transfer program? How where students can transfer from Nigerian universities to say American universities or other universities in the European countries? Do you see that? Do you think that this ASUU strike is going to impact on that program?
Um, okay. With regards to Nigerian students, going to foreign universities like in Europe, yeah, that's an excellent idea. But on the other hand, in terms of in Nigeria right now, based on strike, I think that would definitely impact it because in most of the universities, the transcript process and other processes have been put on hold. So in order for students to transfer to some other universities, naturally you would have to request for their transcripts and all. So the ASUU strike will definitely have an impact on whatever program that they don't have. It's definitely going to affect it because of the strike. Because even as Perennial University of Alumni Association, with regards to transcript of students right now, a lot of those things are on hold. So yes, if you want to relate that to the ASUU strike, it definitely already has an impact with regards to some universities in Nigeria, because they have skeletal services. Most of the other staff, in wanting to support the administrative staff, no, sorry, the academic staff, they definitely would slow things down. And in most faculty offices, you don't have the lecturers there. So yes, it's going to have an impact on students now going to foreign universities from our universities on some special programs and all that. Thank you.
Thank you, President Alice, for your brilliant and clear answer to that question. And to my other question, it goes to Dr. Ben George. Uh, what do you think are the demands of ASU? Because we hear every time ASU they are going on strike, they are going on strike. What are the demands of ASU?
Okay.
And do you believe also that they are asking for too much?
The demands of ASU is majorly dependent on the agreement ASU had with the federal government in 2019, and it can be summarized, into maybe three parts. The main part, the bulk of the whole problem, is the funding. The funding for what they call the revitalization of the tertiary institutions. Okay, that's one. Then the second is the payment of end academic allowances. The third is deployment of a payment system for lecturers. ASU propose the UTAS, University Transparency and Accountability solution for payment of lecturers, while the government is insisting on the IPs program, which is the what's it called now? Personnel something, one other thing called IPs. Okay, so ASU is not agreeing with the federal government concerning IPs. The end allowances and the more funding for revitalization, according to what we hear from sources and what we read online, is about 1.2 trillion naira ASU is demanding from the federal government. And I think in the agreement, it was that ASU should pay in tranches. Sorry, the federal government should pay in tranches. I think 6 tranches or so. And an amount, or like 2 amounts, were agreed on. First was 200, I think, billion. Then the second, 220 billion for the rest of the 5 years. And that was supposed to start in 2013. Okay, but I think the federal government has not been keeping up with this agreement. And for federal government to actually agree with ASU in the first place, it means that federal government saw reasons with ASU. It's no doubt that universities in Nigeria, most of the federal universities especially, and state universities, are lacking fundamental requirements for a university to function maximally. It's no doubt. We know that some of the private universities are trying, but like Dr. Wokocha said, some of the state universities are thriving despite the strike. This is because most of a heavier part of the demands of ASU is like more prevalent for the demands for what the revitalization or the state of the universities is, let me say, worse in the federal universities, because some states are actually able to cater for their universities. River State University, for example, as he said, is able to cater for the visitor of the university is able to cater to a great extent for the university, same as the National Nigerian University of Education. But I hear that some universities, like I think is it IMO or so, they are not able to cater for their state's facilities and requirements and everything. So they also depend on this revitalization that is supposed to come. But the federal government is not forthcoming with this thing, and the whole agreement thing is I think for you to go into agreement with somebody, it means that both of you sat, discussed, and decided that this is what we will do. I don't think that federal government actually took hook, line, and sinker what ASUU presented. I think that there was a deliberation and an agreement was made. Okay, so if federal government is not keeping their part of the agreement, I see it as poor, because we know or we believe that the federal government of Nigeria is quite able to cater for our universities. These universities are like the babies of the federal government. These universities are the ones producing all the manpower that the country needs, in every aspect, in every area of, in every field of work, So we cannot actually afford not to care for what happens in the universities. Okay. And the second part of the question you asked was, sorry, please remind me.
Yeah, if they were asking too much, if these demands are too much.
Oh, okay. If the demands were too much, I wouldn't say that the demands are too much. I wouldn't.
Okay.
I've worked in the university for about 9 years.
Yes.
So I've also traveled to other universities. I've visited other universities. I've attended conferences, and I've seen, structure on ground and everything. I don't think that they're asking for too much comparing to what we see in the West. Some of our people who have traveled abroad to study and have come back, when they tell you about stuff, and even when you go online, searching for admission, you dabble into, 1 or 2, 3, 5 universities, as the case may be, you kind of walk around the university online and you see things and you are attracted, you are interested, you want to be there. It's not like that here. Most of the time we don't get the information, the feedback, the structure, the everything that we're looking out for out there. Right here, we don't have them. Okay, so, and I think that is not too much for us to do. It's not, because we have the manpower, we have what it takes, we have the finances, we have, I believe, everything that we need. But I don't know why we are not able to come together to do this.
All right. Thank you for your answers. And as a follow-up to that, let me just stick with you. So you don't support or subscribe to the notion that the fees should be increased to kind of augment government's budget or contribution to the management?
No, I don't. I don't at all. I don't agree that all the monies should come from. As a matter of fact, most of the people in school are not registered.
So they are not
registered in the sense that they have not paid fees.
Okay.
And we know the current situation in Nigeria. Everything is on the rise. Prices of things, goods, services, everything is on the rise. But hardly do salaries go up. And these salaries still will function for these things that we need that are rising. Prices are rising. Okay, so how do we now increase this? If we increase the school fees, we're virtually going to make education only for the rich.
Okay. Thank you for your answers. Let me also introduce our guest who came in a little bit behind schedule, Comrade Foster Amadi. Comrade Foster Amadi is the SCG president, University of Benin. Comrade, I welcome you to the broadcast and to the discussion.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody, and thanks for having me. I'm sorry I came late due to network issues. Thank you.
Yeah, we understand. Comrade, I have a question for you. Now that ASUU is on strike, what is the current engagement of students? Is it that there's a complete shutdown of academic activities, that no studies or lectures of any kind is going on? Is that the implication, that no teaching is going on and no impact of knowledge? Is that the implication?
Yes, as it stands now, there is no activity, academic activity in quote, ongoing in the school or even online, except for individual purposes. Basically, I think we have been at home for 107, 108 days now, and we majority of the students, however, have not been too close to their books anymore. You know, especially during the time we're trying to protest or we are.
Oh, is I believe we lost Comrade Foster. I believe his network. Sorry about that. So my next question, President Alice, is about employment opportunities for Nigerian graduates. I came across a report recently about the British Authority, where they talked about a work visa, and they practically or deliberately excluded Nigerian graduates from such program, from participating in work visas. What I'm trying to say is that whereby graduates can go over to Britain to get work through work visas and all that. They deliberately excluded Nigerian graduates from such program. Do we see any kind of relationship or any correlation between the way our graduates are churned out to why the British Authority excluded Nigerian graduates from such a program?
Okay, yes. Okay, now with regards to
There's employment.
okay, that's accepting okay, that's the issue of having special programs whereby Nigerian graduates will be employed in foreign universities, right? Yes.
Not just sorry to cut it, not as in foreign universities, that is to work.
Okay, yes, okay.
Yes,
now I
in
understand.
other
Yes.
sectors, yes.
Yes, okay. I mean, usually when such countries take such decisions, it's usually for a lot of reasons, right? And
Yes.
I'm sure you and I would agree that one of the reasons might be the quality or the current quality of education in Nigeria. I mean, with that, we can also go back to the issue of the ASUU strike, quality of education, and all that. The main issue we have in Nigeria right now has to do with the current quality of education in Nigeria, and it's not a secret out there. A lot of Nigerian graduates, I mean, we have a lot of very intelligent students. Nigerians are well known. Even here in New York, Nigerians have excelled. A lot of Nigerian medical doctors, they are one of the best here in here in New York. And a lot of Nigerians go to a lot of our universities. But however, in recent times, just as you said, right, there have been a lot of changes and all that in terms of the quality. I remember when I graduated from university many years ago, and I sent my transcript, for grad school. They immediately just, accepted it, reviewed it, and they're all happy about it. But however, in recent times, the culture of based on, news reports, because, the world is a global village. Everybody hears about what's going on in Nigeria about the strike. So our main issue is the Nigerian government probably needs to budget more for education. We have a lot of federal universities, state universities, but they are not putting in enough money into these universities. Now, with regards to the lecturers demand is very valid. They want to teach. They want to give our students the best quality education in order for them to be able to now, graduate and get jobs internationally, right? But
Yes.
if the government continues to stifle these lecturers, I mean, what they're asking for is not so much. What they're asking for is their fair share. How can you have, I think they call it the IPPIS system for universities? That's not possible because the IPS system only addresses the issue of tenured lecturers. What about lecturers that want to teach in one university and they have enough time to teach in other universities? What about those lecturers that probably want to do research projects elsewhere? So the point is that the Nigerian government or the government of Nigeria, they have to now budget more money and actually sit with ASUU and understand that ASUU demands make a lot of sense. They are the ones that will rely on to churn out excellent graduates. So if a university is closed or there's a long strike, that would be a big problem. And it should then affect, for now, I remember the last time that I went to Nigeria, to University of Benin to visit the Vice Chancellor and other officers. The university was open, but a little while later, they had, they had a strike. And up till now, they still have a strike. So in one way or the other, it's going to affect the quality of our graduates. Because when they resume school right now, the next thing that they have to now do is to probably have their semester exams, give them handouts, a kind of raw job. Kind of do exams quickly. However, these students will end up not getting quality education. And remember, a lot of international organizations are also watching us. A lot of international non-profit organizations are also watching what's going on in Nigeria. And we have a lot of Nigerians out here in the United States that are both tenured professor, adjuncts. They know what's going on. So at the end of the day, whether we accept it or not, it's going to affect the quality of our graduates. So that's why there are some countries now where when you send a Nigerian university transcript, they'll have to now take it to an evaluation service. And in some cases, they ask them to repeat some certain courses. So to answer your question, yes, with the issue of quality of graduates, until the Nigerian government sits down and understand the fact that the only way you can produce good graduates is by actually listening to the lecturers. And when I say lecturers, their demands are valid. They just want everyone to understand that what you do in the federal civil service in terms of payment cannot also be the same for a university lecturer, because if you have a tenured professor or a lecturer in Nigeria that has a lot of knowledge, you want to share it with other universities around you. You have the right to lecture in 2 or 3 other schools. It happens here in the United States. You can have an adjunct professor or adjunct lecturer in 3 universities. It doesn't matter. So, I could go on and on and on, but the bottom line is that Nigeria needs to budget more on education. And by doing that, it will trickle down and we will end up producing good graduates, whereby our graduates could go out there and compete and also get employed in the Western world, just as it was many years ago when I first came to the United States and all that. So hopefully, I hope the government would see reason to make changes and would result in reopening of schools, more money for education, and that would then result in better graduates that could then compete internationally in the employment sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, President Alice, for your response to that question. Dr. Kenichi, I have a question now, follow up to what you said the last time. You said if government wants to uh, take on the demands of ASU, they can, but they are not willing to do that. So recently, I was watching, or I came across a member of the National Assembly. He was trying to propose a solution to this. He was proposing uh, public officers not to send their children outside uh, Nigeria for education purpose, and that bill was turned down. It was killed immediately. Members of the National Assembly, they turned that bill down. I believe that would be a right step in the right direction, because if you look at the drivers of public policies in Nigeria, those in government, even the Minister of Education himself, he sends his children abroad for studies. Don't we think that if our actors or those in government, their children school abroad, they are not going to take the issue of public education serious in our Nigerian university? Don't you think there should be like that member of the National Assembly was proposing? Don't you think that would have been the right step? That okay, we are going to ban public officers from sending their children outside of Nigeria for studies. What do you have to say, Dr. Kolichi Ogojo?
But the thing is, you and I know that such a bill will never see the light of the day. A bill that
Yes.
will deprive them and their family from studying abroad, it will not see the light of the day. If we want to fix our education system, we must yield to the demands of ASU. Secondly, we have another opportunity to set this right. Few months from now, we'll be going into elections. Who are the kind of leaders we want to bring on board? Are they leaders that have the people at heart? You and I, are we prepared to go out there to select our leaders? We should begin to take responsibility. We're talking about proposing bills that will deprive their families from going abroad. I don't see it having the light of the day. One, because they will even call for public hearings and none of us will make ourselves available. They will go ahead, fix whatever they have, put it on us, and it's binding. It's binding. So if we begin to take responsibilities, then we'll be able to get what we want. If UNESCO says for every year, budget 20%, and our government is making efforts from maybe probably 10, 15, 20 before we get to 26, it will be better off. But we are struggling between 4% and 10%, which will take us nowhere. Go into these public institutions and see how the hostels look like. Go into these institutions and see that our lecturers do not even have befitting offices. You see two, three lecturers sharing one office. Not to talk about even transportation system, better transportation system for them to come to work. But you see a man that goes into an office as a counselor, and in less than 2, 3 months he's coming out with a befitting car, house, and the rest. And you want that kind of man to put up a bill that will stop him from taking his family abroad for studies. It will not work. It will not work. Our students, thank God we have an SUG president on this platform. Our students are also not taking responsibilities. If they think that politicians will rise and fix the educational system without being pressurized, then they are getting it wrong. I expected that students would come together. They have a better network. They come together. Thank God today technology has even made it easier for us to connect. I expect students to come together, take decisions concerning their own life, their future. They have every reason to shut down government agencies. They have every reasons to shut down whatever government institutions that they feel is very important to them than education, until the students themselves that are wearing the shoes stand up to support the demands of ASUU, or to even go their way and say, okay, ASUU come, federal government come, let us sit and have a tripartite agreement, ASUU, federal government and the student bodies, and come up with a solution. Our institutions will remain the same way. If the private universities are doing well, I see no reason why public universities should not do well. I just told you, the tertiary institutions in Rivers State are doing well. Why are they not going on strike? Maybe because we have somebody that understands what it means to fix education. If you take a visit to Rivers State University and the sister university, Ignatius University, you will see new buildings. You see buildings springing up on daily basis. Is the federal government telling me that they cannot fix the system? What are the demands? Lecturers' welfare. What are the demands? Infrastructure. What are the demands? Fund the universities. If you can fund elections, you can also fund education. You saw how they brought out 100 million naira to buy just a form, and they were dishing out millions to buy forms. Some of them dished out these millions, and in 2 days' time they withdrew. They did not collect back their money.
Yeah.
They didn't collect back their money. So if really we want to fix the educational system, all stakeholders must be involved. It is not just between ASUU, federal government, ASUU, federal government, and the student body that is the grass that is suffering it will just sit aside. Sometimes they just stand up and they are blocking Benin Lagos highway. After 2 days, they move out of it. You come to Unipo, they will threaten to block Port Harcourt East West Road, and they will just back in without it. SUG president, you're there, you're hearing me. You people should get yourself, make your demands. I even thought they were serious when they say no primaries or election be hold. I thought they were actually serious. And the last time I saw, is it the SUG, is it Nance president having a meeting with the minister of
Minister of
education, and
Education.
he walked out of them just
Yeah.
because they pointed out the fact that we saw you online or daily with your son that graduated abroad, and he walked out of that meeting to tell you how the people who expect to be responsible, the people who expect to take charge of our systems are now kings and lords. So we must
All
all
right.
come together and fix this.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Kelechi Wogocha, for your response and for challenging the SUG president who is present here on the broadcast. Comrade Foster, you heard what Dr. Kelechi said. He truly challenged the student union NAS. And what do you think NAS is doing about this? Dr. Kelechi, you could remember you and I were part of the union. And we know that most union in Nigeria today, they are polarized and they are politicized. Do you think that has a way, uh, it has weakened unionism in Nigeria? So I want to hear the feedback from Comrade Foster Amadi. What do you think is the reason why NAS as a body cannot make requests from government? Do you think they've been bought over or they've been politicized? Uh, What is the challenge the student body they are having?
Okay, thank you very much. I think I've quite listened to everyone spoke, and it's actually a nice one. But for the fact that I think I'm the only student, in quotes, like the only university student still in school year, it's more of like I might be talking in a very, very different perspective, actually, although we learn to relearn. Firstly, I want to say that it is becoming done on us quite well that the education system in this country is being taken for granted, and of course, we all know that education is the power and for immense transformation of every state or of every country. But for Nigeria, as it stands, the government, whosoever in authority, does not see education as a salient or as a paramount part of the societal development. As it were, we learned about the aviation issue the other time when the airport asked to be shut down for a couple of weeks. They gave their reasons, and the next thing we heard, within 24 hours, there was a reverse on that particular case, showing the concern of persons. There was no protest to that effect. There was no protest of anybody saying that you have to reopen the airport. You have to reopen the airport. But what we saw was a disclaimer saying that the airport should be opened and the airport will be opened. So that will tell you the extent at which some things are prioritized above others. Some things are prioritized above others. The truth is, we on our own. Now, I will start by saying, when two elephants fight, proverbial elephant fight, the grass definitely suffers. Now, we have been on the suffering, and not like we are happy, or not like we should have better options which we have not grabbed. Now, firstly, we did not even call for this whole strike stuff. And talking about, every interest or every union has their interest. Every union has their interest, and they fight for their interest, solely for their interest. Now, I feel ASUU, yes, might be there's revitalization that will bring about infrastructure and the rest of it in their demand. So I know too well to know that if every other thing is given to them and the revitalization is not done, if their salaries are increased, won't they go back to their classes and teach me the classes I've been learning before? Won't they go back to the same 4 words I've been learning now? They are telling me, I think I have had a counter with 1 or 2 ASUU persons, and then that are the patriot of the pushing of the demands. Have told me that, President, do you know that what we enjoyed in our time is the for what we are enjoying now? Then we could eat free tea. There is lunch break. There is this, that. These are the things we are trying to fight for. I was astonished. Is that what you are fighting for? So are you telling me now that if they should start doing every of those things and your salaries are not increased, will you come back to classrooms? So the truth is, everybody has their interest. If you even listen to most of them talk, they tell you that professors are supposed to be third in hierarchy after the state government, the speaker of the assemblies. Then you have professors. He said that's how it used to be. That's how it's supposed to be. But now it's not like that. We understand every of this fight, but the thing is that we are the ones suffering it directly. We are the ones suffering. We understand that, yes, you are supposed to be paid millions. We understand that, yes, even young boys of now, they even drive cars that are better off than professors. We understand these things, but there are still some few persons that are peace-loving and law-abiding, hoping to graduate through school and make something good, or make a good use of their lives. But they are being stagnated. Our house rent is already expired. We have to start renewing rent even upon resumption. We even pay rent now for when we don't even know when we want to go back to our classrooms. Is it the fact that so many people already? I checked my class group the other day. We're saying congratulations. So many parents are getting married. So many parents are giving birth. Just keep compounding the problem in the country every day by every of our little actions. Now, on our own part, I think if there should be any school that led the first protest as against ASUU strike, it should be University of Benin.
Yes, sir.
We have led a protest. We have protested to the airport. We shut down the airport. There was no entrance, and obviously, there were people that missed their flights that day. We went to the airport. We have gone to National Secretariat. We shut it down. Even those ones, they were even complaining that they have not even had light since about 7 months or so. Their own problem is even big. So now we also went to Ring Road, the Heart of Benin. We blocked Ring Road. There was hold up everywhere. We have done every of those things. We have done, but none of these things were done when it came to the airport issue. Nobody protested for airport issue. So sometimes I just feel at this point we have to be factual and face it. Maybe our protest in Edo State might not really be enough to call it. Maybe a national protest might be enough to call it. Maybe a protest from every school, from every universities around the world or around Nigeria might be enough to call it. But the point still remains that I don't think Nigeria is not the only school or the only country, that has higher institutions. So why is this ASUU and federal government always in this country? We are actually tired. I've been at home. I'm not even enjoying staying at home. They'll tell me, go and learn skill. How many skills will I learn? The last time I learned tailoring, the last time I have learned barbing. Will I keep learning these skills? Not like this country is even helping us developing any of these skills. How long will I keep learning skills? No, that's the truth. Now if this country must develop, then we have to start focusing on the problems the youth are facing and not the one they are causing. Because they will keep causing more problems, causing more damage if they don't address what they are facing. Now we are facing the issue of ASUU strike. The truth is, I have concluded and I have seen, but like I said, that it's better to do your best and know you have done your best, rather than staying back and watching some unfold. Now we have done our best. We have protested. I don't think there is any state. I can categorically say that there is not a state in Nigeria that has protested the amount at which Edo State has protested. There is not a state as we speak now that has protested the way Edo State has protested. Neither is there a university that has actually protested the way University of Benin has been involved in protests. But we have been doing all these things and nothing is happening. So what should we do? Other schools, I will go to our SUG President Forum. I will talk to them. You guys, what are we waiting for? Start something in your school. Let this thing be national. It should not be like, and of course, the University of Benin is my school very soon, my alma mater. And as such, I am a stakeholder in the school. And I also do well to preserve the name of the school. So that nobody should come up tomorrow and say, and I will bring my certificate for a job. And they'll say, Uniben, that woman and like protest over every little thing, or Uniben, until they fight. Uniben. So I have to also preserve my school. So I have to chill and wait. Other schools do something too. It's not only Uniben that is affected. It's not only those things that are affected. Other schools do something. But nobody, even Abuja, there are universities in Abuja that are directly affected. What are they doing? Nothing. So I think at this point, everybody is playing their role. Everybody has played their role, and we'll still play our role to ensure that the strike is called off. But if we'll be candid to access, it does not affect them, so they will not. Even we block this road from now till tomorrow. We block the airport. I knew how many calls I received when I was in the airport. I knew how many calls, how many pressure that came when I was at the airport. It never came like that for any other place we have protested. It never came like that. I even had to leave because our life was even be threatened. So most of the time, we're in a country where lives are not even valued too. So we have to be diplomatic and use adequate wisdom in every move we are making. So I feel we have been doing our best. Our best might not be enough. Yes, because the strike has to be called off. And you never say you have done your best when you have not gotten a solution to what you are doing it for. But even AAU, Ansani University, Epoma, that was not really actively part in the protest. I think the school has actually left or called off the strike on their own part. Not like called off, but they have backed out from the strike action, and they'll be resuming, or if they are not resuming anything soon. So I feel for University of Benin, of course, we know is the mother of ASUU, and we might not be hoping that what happened there will also happen here. But we are just hopeful, and we are still praying that God should touch their hearts. They are not affected. They are saying that even if we block the road, even our parents that are still affected in blocking the road. So I just pray, and we keep praying, we keep hoping that the strike is called off, while we become peace-loving, and we do our best to also keep our brains active. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Foster Amade, the SUG President, University of Benin. Thank you for your response. Dr. Ben George, I have a follow-up question to what Comrade First Amadi just said. Don't you think that this continuous ASUU strike has a way of frustrating students away from university to drop out to go learn a trade or a vocational skill? Do you think that would be a right step in the right direction? Because when people have this thing coming up that they are in school and the school keeps on shutting down, most parents or the students themselves, they are discouraged and they want to drop out and they go learn a trade or a skill. Do you think this is a positive direction or is a negative direction? What are your thoughts?
Okay. It cannot be positive for students to begin to drop out of school to opt into other attractions rather than to be in school as they have been sent. You know, it's rather unfortunate. It's rather unfortunate, and we're all heartbroken. As a matter of fact, the students are heartbroken. The the lecturers are heartbroken. I don't know if the federal government is heartbroken. Stakeholders are
Obviously, I
heartbroken.
don't think they are.
You know, and personally, I also suffered from strikes when I was in school. You know, my admission was in 2002. My first degree admission was in 2002. So my matric number is 2002. Okay. But I started school in 2004.
Three.
Four actually, because there was no 2003. There was
Yeah.
strike. There was strike. So there was no school at the time. So I even got admission. I didn't know. I was still battling and looking out for different schools where I could go. But I had admission until when I realized, in 2004, I already had admission. And I went and began schooling. Somewhere along the line, there was also a strike, not so long, but I mean, there was, you know, and it was not funny. I've seen many, jokes, memes on social media, on the internet, flying all over the place, and people are they always say comrade. I'm sorry, I'll use the word comrade. Foster, please. I'll use the word comrade. They always say, imagine na comrade they fetch water, for house. Comrade they wash plates. Comrade, all those kind of things. You when you are at home and you are not, actively in school, you become um like an errand boy or errand girl at home because everyone feels, you're just there and you're available. So they use you to, ease off some stress from their bodies also. And then you find that students also, in these days are exposed to the internet. There's a lot on the internet, to keep students actually busy throughout. Even if this strike lasts for 1 year, students will be busy on the internet. And some of them are usefully active on the internet, gainfully active. Some of them are not. The vices on the internet are so much. We cannot weigh them. Some persons have, opted into trades, like our comrade here told us that he's learnt barbing, and they're still pushing him, saying, go and learn more. I mean, that's not what a man wants to do. Okay, he wants to go to school, get done. I'm sure he has his own plans. By this year, I should have been done with school. By this year, NYC, okay. By the time I'm done with NYC or during my NYC, this is what I'm going to achieve, or this and that and that. But everything is bleak. Like nobody can plan. You can't plan for your own self, and it's really bad. It's really bad. I'm seeing all the negative sides of this thing. Students are out there. We hear now of so much Yahoo in Nigeria, fraud and everything. It's on the rise because people are using the internet for anything they can do to make money. What can a man do sitting at home apart from doing something to make money? Some students have boldly walked up to me and said, I'm not doing this school thing again. I'm not doing, because I saw something that is paying me. I'm
All
not
right.
doing, even if ASUU comes back, I'm not going. Yes. They said that. Some of them some of them who have parents who can afford have gone to other schools. Some of them who have parents who can afford have sent them to schools abroad, maybe in other African countries or thereabout. But those who don't have parents who can afford to take them out of the country or to a private school, what do? This whole thing falls back on the the what will I say? I don't want to use the word poor, but it falls back to the weak in society. It doesn't affect those in high class. Like we said, they some of them, most of them in public offices, send their children abroad, and they are not really impacted by all these things that we're saying. And in fact, they don't even value the young lives. So, like our comrade here said, he was threatened at the airport and he had to leave, even though he was fighting for what was his right, even though he was fighting for his followers, people who were looking up to him as a leader. A young man in Nigeria who is trying his best to call people like him together, other heads, other leaders in other schools. Let us come together and let's see how we can push this thing through, because this is what we need to do. And they are not being encouraged. This is education we are talking about. We're not talking about building a marketplace, or we're not talking about buying and selling. We're talking about manpower, for goodness sake. We're talking about human beings going to attain the skills, the attitudes, the what it takes to become useful in society. Will the society prefer that these people stay at home and get carried away by all the vices and become nuisance all over the place? I don't know where this country is actually aiming. I fear for Nigeria. Really. I fear for Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ben George, for the contribution towards the impact on ASUU strike, whether it's going to form a decision on students to go learn a trade or a vocational skill. My next question goes to President Alex Erwan, and it borders on the role the diaspora community can play in education sector in Nigeria. Can there or could there be a transfer of knowledge? We have so many professors abroad. What kind of contributions could they make back home to the education sector? Can there be a transfer of knowledge if their physical presence is not possible, like going back to Nigerian University to teach? Is there a way they could transfer kind of knowledge back to our public institutions to impact Africa? Is there a way that knowledge could be transferred? What we call knowledge transfer back to Nigerian universities or African universities?
Yeah. Thanks for your question. Yes. There are various ways we could that the diaspora, that the Nigerian diaspora could transfer knowledge to Nigerian universities. It could be done in a variety of ways. One of, a very, very one of the ways that we are currently having a discussion about, that's me and my ESCO, is regarding being visiting lecturers or professors in Nigerian universities. Looking at the big picture, right? Yes, there's that opportunity for foreign universities to partner with Nigerian universities, whereby the Nigerian diaspora, that professors, adjuncts, and all could always go into Nigerian universities, teach for a number of years or months, and then go back. Now, with regards to what's happening with University of Benin Alumni Association, yes, we are currently discussing about the possibility of some of our members, because here in the United States, we have a lot of Uniben alumni that are university professors, that are medical doctors, lecturers. A lot of them are also adjuncts. Most of us have already gone to grad school. A lot of us are already doing a doctorate. So we have a lot of Nigerians here in the United States that are well qualified, and we are already discussing with a lot of them for us to have a special program. I mean, I'll use University of Benin as a case study, as an example, right? We are in the discussion as to allow some of our members here to go to University of Benin or some other Nigerian universities to go teach like for a year. And after the year, they could come back, so that's already in conversation. And then secondly, we already have presented a proposal to the Vice Chancellor regarding having a special program. I think that's what we call the Artificial Intelligence Program. It has to do with computer science, whereby right here in the United States, we could, have lectures, online lectures, and we are ready to we even made them know that we're ready to fund. I mean, when I say fund, not full funding, but a certain percentage of funding for that sort of program. So yes, that's a very, very important way of transferring knowledge from from here in the United States back to Nigeria. That's not just the United States, but the Nigerian diaspora, having to transfer knowledge in the sciences, also in the social sciences and in other areas. So yeah, that's something that we're already discussing. And the good news is that we are already, we intend moving a step further by coming to the University of Benin to also, speak to different departments and look for other areas. So the issue of transferring knowledge is something that we are already in the process of doing, and that's also a way of helping out, because we have a lot. In fact, the curriculum here in a lot of institutions here, we also intend introducing them to some departments, within the university, in order to help. So hope, and that's one way. Another way is also establishing, special funds whereby we could also sponsor some students either in their 300 or in their final year to come over to the United States for probably either a semester, and it will be sponsored by our organization, and then they can always go back. So there are different ways we are already thinking of in order to transfer that knowledge. But those are ways, knowledge will be transferred by our by lecturers, by our alumni or diasporans going to Nigeria to have lectures or doing online lectures from here. Thank you.
Thank you, President Alice of Urbana, University of Benin Alumni Association, North America. Thank you for your time, and thank you for letting us know some of the plans Urbana has for Univen and education at large in Nigeria. We salute your leadership and your management for the wonderful jobs you guys are doing at Urbana. And for that wraps up today's discussion. The stakeholders that will come across this broadcast, and they will take an informed decision about how to end ASUU, how to fund ASUU, make ASUU a thing of the past. I want to thank my guests on the program, Dr. Woko Chakilechi. Thank you for your time, for sparing your time, and also sharing your thoughts and with us. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ben George, from River State University of Science and Technology, as assistant registrar and transitioning to becoming a lecturer at the university. Thank you. Comrade Foster Amadi, the powerful executive president of my alma mater, University of Benin, Unibest. Thank you for sparing your time to come join us and share your position and what Uniben, SCG, and Uniben board students have done so far to make government and those in authority meet or assist to the demands of ASUU. Thank you. And to some other time, I will come again and present another topic. I remain Dennis Akroye. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
Thank
everyone.
you very much for having us here.
Thank you.
And please, as a way to go home, as a way to conclude, I'd like to ask President Errol one.
Yeah.
Please, when you're done with Uniben, please look towards River State University. Thank you.
No, why? No, excuse me. Why not?
Sorry, I did not get that.
Because I
I did not get that.
okay.
Oh, okay. I am pleading that once, since we're taking Uniben as the pivot,
A case study.
yes, university for the study, let's please consider River State University second. We're open to opportunities to collaborate.
Oh, excellent.
All
I mean,
right.
that's
All
good
right.
news.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we'll definitely try to reach through Dr. Dennis. We'll definitely try to reach out to River State University of Technology and other universities, because it's we intend to do like online programs and also different ways, either online programs by lecture online, or having visiting professors come over, and then we could also sponsor students that have excelled. Yeah, these are items that we are already having on ground, and I would reach out to Dr. Dennis to also to discuss with you guys. We want to do it all over. It's not just University of Benin. And just
Thank you
as an
very much.
FYI, yeah, I did my youth service in Port Harcourt.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Wow.
Great.
Yes,
That's a good
Great.
one.
yes, with the central bank in Port Harcourt. Yes.
Oh, wow. That's great. Interesting.
That's a
Services.
good one.
Exactly.
That means you're part of us.
Oh yes, so
Yes. Yes.
many,
Yeah,
many,
in Port Harcourt
many
bread.
years ago. Yes. Next
Just
to,
like
next,
Dennis.
next to the secretariat. That's where
Yes,
I
just-
the secretariat.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
So no problem,
It's very
right?
nice.
So
no
you could always reach out to Dennis in order to get in touch with me, right? And I'll definitely
Okay.
do that. Yeah. The issue
Thank
of
you very
online
much.
lectures is something that we're taking very seriously, and we intend doing that. Thank you
I'm
very
glad
much.
to hear. Thank you,
You're
sir.
welcome. It's a pleasure.
And thank you,
Thank you
Dr.
very much,
Dennis.
sir.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Dennis,
Thank
hold
you
on.
all.
Thank
Just
you very
to
much, sir.
encourage our
Thank you, Mr.
SUG
Dennis.
president.
Thank you, Dr. Mrs. Ben George. Thank you, Dr. Kelechi. It's nice having time with you. I've learned a lot and I'm grateful.
Thank
Comrade
you.
Foster.
Thank you. Thank you.
Comrade Foster.
Oh,
Just to encourage you.
oh,
Eh? You've not done your best yet. I would like you to go back to that your SUG forum. There you have your presidential forum. Go back there. Igbo should regroup. Igbo should re-strategize and come out again. You could have better results. Okay?
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.